Hi, everybody. I'm Kortnee Garcia with the Garcia Group at Gateway Mortgage, and I'm here with my wonderful friend, Michelle.
And I'm Michelle Arnold with the Arnold team here in sunny Yuma, Arizona at Keller Williams Realty.
Sunny. It's not sunny today outside. I walked out there. I was like, cousin it.
Yeah.
My hair just went whoosh.
Well, actually, that's why I'm here because, I'm so OCD that I will not take pictures of houses on crappy days. I make my photographer, sorry, Amy, come back on sunny days. So we're going to be doing it Saturday, which is supposed to be lovely and sunny and have no sign of wind. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, we have sunshine, the most sunshine anywhere on the planet, but the definition is the most total sunshine. So we'll have gorgeous, it's still blue. It's just windy and kind of dusty. So you can edit that out.
Well, no, it's great for our followers to also learn about Yuma because a lot of them are moving to Yuma.
I don't want to tell them about the dust. So it's so dusty that on my way in here, I was like, I think I need Kortnee's powder brush.
We only get wind like once a month. And when it does,
once a month,
it's exfoliating for us. So today we just wanted to tell everyone that's watching why we work so well together and why it's important for when you hire somebody to go out there and help find you a house, why it's important to work with their entire team.
We are your team. We are your team. You have lending, realtor, and escrow. And that's what we do. We make sure that every little piece to your puzzle is all dialed in all the time.
Correct. And that's why I can't do what I do without my team, because it starts with me. Well, it starts with Caitlin and then comes to me. No,
it actually starts with them.
It does. True. Starts with our buyer that says, I want to buy a house.
Exactly. It starts with you when you go, you know what? I'm ready. And then I say, here's some detailed information. I want you to gather all this paperwork, and then I want you to put it together. And then I want you to get it over into the internet in this lovely world of the www and send it over to Caitlin, who then processes it, goes through everything, gets it all lined out, and then Big Brain takes over from there.
Yeah, so that's when she puts it on my desk. I give them the options that are best for their financials. We review everything, income, assets, credit, making sure that we're putting them up for success in their purchase of home ownership and the best options that are for them, not just today, but also in their long term. So we always make sure and ask our clients, how long do you intend on being in the home? Because if they're only in the home for 2 years, we definitely don't want to advise them to buy down discount points and buy rates down. So there's all different.
But also what their long-term goals are too.
Correct. Yeah. Especially if they plan on keeping the home, if they want to turn it into a rental property later on. So you always want to go those I call it 3 questions deep, find out exactly what the clients need from us because they're hiring us to do a job for them. So we have to make sure we're doing our job and our due diligence. Yeah. So I'm very lucky. My team does great at that. And then once I'm done with it, it goes back to Caitlin and you guys find them the house. And then it'll come back to me after you guys find the house. We put it together, and then I pass the wand off to Alejandra, and Alejandra just takes it and meets it with the close of escrow with the help of you and our
dots
listing
the
agent.
I's, crosses the T's, and sometimes gets them closed in 20 days.
Yes. Title loves us when we get them closed soon.
Yes. We actually recently closed that one for our clients, and I love the fact that they were super happy that we closed in 20 days. They didn't know that wasn't normal until they started talking to all their friends and were told that's not normal.
Right. Normally lenders, especially during the whole COVID pandemic, lenders were taking 45, 60, almost 90 days to close. We were still closing ours in that 30-day realm.
And appraisals were such a challenge.
Yes.
Such a challenge.
Yes.
And they're finally, I feel like they're breaking out now, where there's more appraisers coming out. There's more appraisers that have gotten certified. But besides that, there's less loans being processed, so we have more flexibility and the appraisers have a better timeline that they can come in, and probably at a lower cost than it has been in the past.
Right. Well, and that's another part. So I'm not a huge fan of how people always say shop local on your mortgage side, as well as because I lend in 47 states. So I'm not local in all those 47 states. But it is important in our community to use a local lender because of our appraisal panels.
Yeah.
We just had a property out at Martinez Lake that if it hadn't been with a local, not only loan officer that knows Martinez Lake, which I love Martinez Lake, I own property out there as well, but a company that worked out there because our appraisers on our panel know the area. So I know a lot of other lenders that are outside. Yeah. And we can help guide the appraiser on the areas. And that's one thing I always tell my agents too. When you have an appraiser, we provide the phone number to the appraiser. Once it's assigned, reach out to the appraiser, help them know the areas and how you came up with the sales price that you came to negotiate for your buyers or sellers.
Yeah.
So can you touch base a little bit on that, what you do with your appraisers?
So typically what I'm going to do on the listing side of it, I'm going to reach out to the appraiser and say, okay, here are the comps that I'm using. But besides that, it's also all about the details. And there will be a listing that's completely different than another listing out there. Maybe it has some, it has all new flooring, all new light fixtures, new plumbing, new everything. And it's being compared to just a basic house. We're talking about thousands and thousands of dollars. Anyone who's ever done a remodel is going to know that, you can hit a $20,000 budget in a few blinks.
Oh, yes.
A few flicks of the wrist and you are in 20 grand, no problem. And so, seeing that from an appraisal standpoint, most people don't realize, but an appraiser is in and out. They're in and out in 15, 20 minutes.
I get clients so upset because they'll clean forever. And then they say, what? He wasn't even here. He didn't notice I spent 3 days scrubbing my floors. But
that's not real estate clean, though. You want it to be clean. And I do think that it's interesting that you say that, though, because I think that actually does have a small bearing on it. It shows pride of ownership. And it's certainly going to be pride of ownership if that appraiser is analyzing maybe another property. And of course, they don't go into those other properties. They may take a picture from the exterior, but they don't actually go into those other properties. They just do the exterior photos. And so if they're analyzing photos from a previous listing and they see that previous listing has, maybe stained carpet and, whatever, chipped countertops, cracks in, tile or whatever the case is, maybe it's got linoleum tears. And the subject property actually has, beautiful luxury vinyl plank or, high quality porcelain tile or something like that. Then they're going to go, okay. So then it comes down to, what's the current quality? Is it does the quality get reduced on this other property? Because of they go in and see this house and it's immaculate, it's perfect. The people have spent 3 days cleaning. It's neat, it's organized, they can see everything. I mean, I think all of those things actually make a difference because everything about real estate is psychological. So.
Well, and that's what I tell a lot of our clients, the appraisers out there to give an opinion of value. So they're not, as per se, a home inspector and things like that. Now they will call out home health and safety issues depending on the loan programs, but they're not there to let you know that every light socket doesn't work or things like that.
That's a home inspector.
Right. That's that home warranty. They're truly an opinion of value. So I could definitely see that if an appraiser walks in and it's an immaculate property, baseboards are cleaned, no stains everywhere. I can see that because it does have a quality of construction on the appraisal.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah, that does make sense.
Every appraisal is going to evaluate that home based not only on, the square footage. They're looking at the amenities. They're also looking at condition. Condition is a big thing. You might have one home that's 20 years old and another home that's 10 years old, but the home that's 20 years old has had a complete renovation. And so obviously that home that's 20 years old, we're definitely going to want to say, we've redone the bathroom. They redid this, they redid that, they redid this. All of these things, these little boxes have been checked. So it's our job as listing agents and even as buyer's agents to be able to reach out to the appraiser and say, want you to know, here are the details. Let me provide them to you so that it makes your life easier, because it is our job to make everything as easy as possible. That's our goal. Our goal is always to make it nice and smooth for all parties involved. And if that means I give you a digitized list of every detail out there, so all the appraiser has to do is copy and paste, that's perfect. That's what they need. It makes their life easier. I mean, they don't want to spend 25 minutes typing out all of the stuff that I sent them.
Correct.
You know, they want to, boom, done.
And that's what I do when we have refinances. I always tell my client, if you've done upgrades to the property since the day that you purchased it, make sure when the appraiser comes in, you give them a nice list of everything that you've done, what it's cost you to do the things. So that way they're not...
Receipts are beautiful.
Yes. Well, and the biggest thing is they don't know what the house looked like before you bought it unless they're pulling up pictures. So it may be worth a lot more than what you bought it, just for the simple fact that you completely remodeled it. But the appraiser necessarily wouldn't know that until you told them everything that you've done and all the costs.
Yeah.
So, and I tell my agents the same thing. We give you the information so that way you can tell the appraisers how you came up with that value. You came up with a price to list it at or to offer at if you're the buyer's agent. So I think that, and I think the appraisers appreciate it, because you're not telling them how to do their job. You're helping them do their job.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's always going to be their opinion. And that's what an appraisal is. An appraisal is someone else's, a third party's opinion of value. And we hope the opinion of value is based on all factors involved. But at the end of the day, it truly is the appraiser's opinion of value.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're wrong.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're wrong.
We have a 3-strike list. Yeah. Yeah, because the appraisers, a lot of people think the appraisers work for the lenders, and they don't. They're their own separate company, their own separate entity. They are hired by the mortgage companies to, again, give the mortgage companies an opinion of value, because we don't see the properties. So there are eyes on the property to make sure that it is a living property. That's not living, but an actual structure design.
That nobody caught the kitchen on fire the night before. You know?
Yeah. So, but a lot of people, they'll get upset thinking you're appraiser, but they're really not your appraiser. They're not my appraiser. They're an appraiser that is in that area. Yeah. What else do you think is a good idea of why we work so well as a team for our clients?
Ooh, there's so many reasons, actually. So one of the things that I love about Kortnee is, one of the things I love about you. One of the things I love about you is the fact that you do peel all the layers of the onion off. And I think that that's super important for my clients, because, you know, I've been on the other end of that file. I've been representing a seller and, you know, saw lenders who didn't go layers deep. And here we are 7 days away from closing, and they're going, well, we didn't realize that you weren't working here yet. Or,
right, because they completed an online application and said they worked somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Or, you know, they were a government employee. Well, that's true. They are a government employee. They just weren't a government employee locally just yet. They were going to be moving.
Well, we even had one that said they were employed, but they truly were self-employed. But in their brain, they were employed by their company.
Correct.
And when we ran the reports that we ran, it triggered that.
Yeah, and they were like shocked, because they said, "Well, we were pre-qualified with Big Bank." And Big Bank said we were fine. We've got a, great, everything. Okay, go to Big Bank, explain to them, this is what's happening. Let me know what they say. Oh, okay, well, they've got to submit it to their underwriting. It's exactly what, you've already done, because you've already figured that out. You've already submitted to your underwriting. And by that time that they were just coming back from the bank after like 2 or 3 days of crickets. And then they said, oh yeah, we'll go ahead and submit it to underwriting. You were already done. It was already out of underwriting. So that's one of those reasons. I think I had, it's probably been about 7-8 months now, I think. I had a client was pre-qualified with another lender. And I didn't realize he had a relationship with that lender. And I didn't know. I just saw big bank and went, okay, here's what I want you to do. I would love for you to get pre-qualified with, one of our preferred lenders locally. And he did reach out to you and did all of his paperwork, but then he started feeling guilty. And he's like, I feel like he's earned it. I've known him and he knows my situation. Well, he actually didn't know anything about his situation. Personally, at a barbecue, they knew each other.
Right.
But he didn't know anything about his situation. And
he probably didn't listen. The man probably explained it and he just didn't listen.
Well, and that's a possibility. I don't know. I just know that, I think we got delayed for closing 2 or 3 times. And we were already so far in it to win it that he didn't want to leave. He's like, I know I should just leave. I know I should just leave. And every time the guy would say, oh, let me rope you back in. Don't worry. I'm going to fix this today. Today I'm fixing this. Well, maybe tomorrow. Maybe by Friday.
Yeah.
Okay. And so then we kept extending and extending. And luckily we had a super patient seller, which was amazing to have in a crazy market. We were just really blessed by a seller that was like, it's okay. Cool. We'll wait. But
and a lot of people don't realize those extensions cost money. The seller might have things on the other end, or even for the buyer side.
Yes,
they can extend locks, do all kinds of stuff.
We were really lucky that in that particular situation, the seller wasn't packed and ready. The seller didn't have to make another mortgage payment because he owned it outright. That's huge. How many times has something happened to delay something and I'm coming begging to you, hey, please get this done. I need you to get this done because, recently we had that situation where we had a couple. Layers were not peeled off and it wasn't done. And at the very end, the lender said, oh, you know what? I'm really sorry, but I don't think we can do it and close it on time.
And that was like 2 days before closing.
Yeah. Oh, no, it was the day of closing.
Oh.
It was really, and I had said, one of the things that I love about you is that I don't have to follow up because I've got Ali on the other end.
Yes.
Kicking butt and taking names. But I am still notoriously a micromanager. So I'm still calling and going, did you get out that CD?
Right.
Did you get out that CD? Have you, done their was it verification of employment? Was that VOE?
VOE, yeah.
I'm terrible about acronyms. I usually try not to use them because everyone's like, what's a VOE? What does that mean? Is that a mole? What
right.
Is that, So, but I'll be calling to make sure all of those things are done. And so I had done that in this particular situation. And I got green light. Yeah, okay. No problem. No. Yeah, we'll be getting docs out probably tonight. Tonight went. No, we'll have docs first thing today.
And they still didn't even have a loan approval.
They didn't even have a loan approval at all. And so that's when, we just pulled the trigger and I said, look, if you want this to go through, you're going to need to switch lenders because my sellers had it. Because, in the meantime, that house, it was on the chopping block and I was still getting calls on it daily because it was a hot property. It was just very rare. And so for him, from his perspective, he just said, hey, make a choice. I trust Kortnee. Tell them if they don't use Kortnee, then, we're done. And so they switched to you and we are pushing through the whole thing. And then somewhere along the way, their lender comes in and says, oh, you know what? It turns out I misread the regulations. We can go ahead and get it done. We'll close by Friday. And we were like, how can you possibly close by Friday? You don't have an appraisal now because that's gone. All of these things that they didn't have the boxes checked, but they were just fluffing us. And
it's that overpromise and underdeliver.
Yeah. And it's a struggle in this business, I think. I know that everybody wants to do right by the client. I don't think there's ever, at least I like to think in my perfect little bubble, that there's never a lender who wakes up in the morning and goes, all I want to do is make money. I don't care about anybody.
Right.
I feel like, especially locally, I think our lenders truly do care about their clients. However, they're not always as experienced, and experience matters. I mean, we've already made all those mistakes for years.
Exactly.
We've learned from family, friends, everybody else and their mistakes. Got that down too.
So the funniest thing around here is the girls, because I've been doing this 25 years, they've been doing it. Ollie's been with me through 3 years. Caitlin's just over a year, and Felly just had her 1 year. So I'll come out and just coming off, all this stuff. And they'll tell me, whoa, 25 years, 3 years, like slow.
Más despacio, por favor.
Yes. So I, even with them, have to remember, even though you guys are such badasses, and I know you know what you're doing because you have so much care for the client, you still don't always understand in my brain going 100 miles an hour. But
well, and we do have those extra squirrely and ADD brains that there's so much information up here that sometimes it's coming out in rapid fire streams.
Right, yeah. And then, so once we're done with all of the hoorah from time under contract to that closing table, the biggest thing is we literally have deadlines. So you have sellers that need their checks. They need that house out of their name on a specific day. Sometimes we'll have buyers moving here. We have a lot of people moving to Yuma, and they're sitting outside in a van, knocking on the title officer's doors. So,
2 dogs,
yes,
in tow,
and a bird. And
yeah.
So that's what our biggest jobs are, and that's one of the biggest things that we always present ourselves with here. And I tell the girls, number one, if you have bad news, we eat the frog. You eat the frog immediately.
It's got to be a phone conversation.
Yes, that's not a text.
Person.
It's not an email. That's a pick up the phone
Absolutely.
As soon as you have that issue, and you eat the frog. That frog tastes no better at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. or 8 p.m. It actually tastes worse because you've now stressed from, and it just sits there and stares at you. And if anybody's seen a bullfrog, that's what I picture whenever I have bad news that I have to come out and say. And I'm like, oh, that bullfrog just staring at me. And typically it's something that we can always come together and fix ourselves.
Right.
But those are, so my team knows.
And sometimes it's just something simple like, turns out that the bank statement expired yesterday.
Right. Well, and we've had where,
little tiny things.
We had one recently where we send out our updates every Tuesday. Alejandra, it doesn't matter if it's midnight. She will send out her updates every Tuesday, and it goes to all parties. And we had one recently, we were getting ready to close, and nobody had ordered some of the inspections that were needed, septic inspection mainly. And we were shuffling for a septic inspection. You and I had one. We were at a luncheon, and I get the email of a water potability inspection that was done incorrectly and held us up on closing. So it's those things that we are always on deadlines, and it works if you're a team that trust each other to tell you when we have to eat a frog on both sides, because we both forget things. But you eat the frog and you work together to fix it. Too.
I mean, I think so many times, probably because I've been doing this for 16 years, I think sometimes people are afraid to tell me, and so they just won't tell me. They won't answer the phone. I'm trying to get a hold of them, and they're just not answering their phone. They're avoiding the situation, hoping it'll go away.
The ostrich head in the ground does not work.
Oh, we all want to put our head in the sand on a regular basis. But, I think that sometimes that fear of saying I screwed up is so great that they just won't. Or maybe they want to blame it on everybody else. And I always say, nobody in this life is perfect. There's not one single person that's perfect, and things happen, mistakes happen. And it's how you learn from that mistake and how you grow from that mistake that defines who you are. So always say, screwed up. Here's what happened.
Eat the frog.
I did this, I did that, or whatever. Just, eat the frog. Let's fix it, figure it out, move on.
Yeah. I say for the most part, you can then work together as a team and figure out how to best come out with a solution for it versus stressing all day long, waiting all this time, and then you find out something that you can't fix at 8 o'clock at night. We have to wait till the next day. So And I think that's one thing that we work so well together too, is because we trust each other with both of our businesses, our
Yes.
families, everything. So it's a total team effort to get you from, as a buyer or as a seller, from that wake up in the morning, decide I need to buy a house or sell the house, to the wake up the next day in your new house or out of your old house.
Okay, so basically, bottom line, if I had to give you a 30-second elevator speech, what would it be? Why would you use me? And I'll tell you why I would use you.
One of the biggest things that I adore about you is there is never it's not my job. I've called you and you've been up in a tree. You have been staring down a septic tank. You have done anything and everything that's possible to assure and help both sides, your buyers and your sellers. There's never a not my job perspective that ever comes out of your brain. It's all your job, because they've hired you to do a job. So if somebody else is falling off the wagon or you can't get somebody to do it, you just do it. You have,
That's true.
yeah. So, and you have truly the genuine idea that you are helping, and you go into everything with your buyers and sellers is, I am going to help you. She truly has been in trees when I've called her.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you in the tree?
So one of the things that I always say is that if you want a real estate agent with perfect hair, you want a real estate agent with really nice manicured fingernails, also not me. If you want a real estate agent with good shoes, but a backup pair in the car all the time, I'm your girl.
Yep. So true.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, you just always go above and beyond for the client.
We have a huge surplus of DIY tools for our clients too.
Oh, I've seen the back of your son's car.
Oh, that's nothing. No, that's nothing. So I have this philosophy that I think sweat equity in a home is beautiful, especially as markets start to change. Investing your sweat equity into your investment, into your future, it's so important. You know, you get to take pride in it. I mean, we are blessed with this amazing era where we're at, where we can, oh, how do I do this? Google it. How do you do this? Google it. You know, I mean, anything you want to know is out there. And so I think that that's great. You know, yesterday I stopped by a client's house, and he just put in all new baseboards and they look fantastic. And he's like, it's probably a project that I underestimated, but they're done and they look great. You know, he had 18 million miscuts and, you know, everything else until he figured it out. But the pride that he gets to take now to say, like, look at my baseboards, look at my baseboards, look at my baseboards, look at my baseboards. That's really cool. I mean, that's exciting for me to see that in people when they get to pick out the colors for their new countertops or whatever. When they're taking that time to invest their personal touches in a home. I think that that's probably more important sometimes than just buying a house that's move-in ready perfect.
Definitely. Well, Michelle, it was great having you here with me today. And we
Conversations on Kortnee's couch.
Yes. That's what we should start doing. Conversations on Kortnee's couch. I like that. Well, if you like today, go ahead and like, comment, and share. And don't forget to subscribe to The Mortgage Hero. Thank you.